Hi, Victoria here, just doing my vocabulary response video. So, the article that I chose was called Vocabulary Centered Strategy: Its Effect on Reading Comprehension and Teachers' Opinions Concerning Its Utility. It's from 2015, Theory and Practice in Language Studies. So, the piece that drew me to continue reading this article, first of all, it was qualitative and quantitative. So I'm going to be speaking to the qualitative side of it. So what drew me to it was the qualitative research that was done asked teachers to weigh in on what they felt about this strategy that the author of the study had produced himself. So, quantitatively speaking, obviously they wanted to see if there was a growth in vocabulary for students living in Saudi Arabia learning English. So the author used pre-tests and post-tests for the quantitative side, but for the qualitative side, there were interviews used. So, like I said, the setting was Saudi Arabia, students learning English. So I wanted to stick with that English track and the acquisition of English language learning. So, and the vocabulary, it appealed to my workload, so to speak. I work with a lot of students who I've mentioned in previous videos who come from Spanish speaking homes, and the acquisition of the English language is really a tough one for me. So I'm always looking for ways to instruct them better and give them some more strategies that they can apply to learning English and speaking, not just speaking, but writing in English. So, participants were 14 and 15-year-olds, but in the study, it referred to them as their third year. So at first, I'm thinking I'm looking at third graders, but then as it turns out, as I read further and really started diving into it, they are in their third year of schooling. So kind of makes you think about 14 and 15-year-olds in their third year of school. That's kind of crazy when you piece that together. So the purpose of the study, like I said, was to see if there would be an additional strategy that students could use that would assist them with learning English words sooner. And they looked at not only to be able to pronounce it, but the students were also to utilize it. Utilize the word, and spelling was a piece of it as well. So, the method that was used, I'm sorry, so I'm going to go back a little bit. So they looked at 40 students, and they took 10 in each group. 2 were control groups, and then 2 received this. It was called, I apologize. It was called Vocabulary Centered Strategy, that was created by the author. So, out of the 40 kids, obviously 20 used it, 20 did not. And then the groups were compared at the end between a pre-test and a post-test. Also, participants, so that was more, I guess, for the quantitative side. So the qualitative side that I looked at, it was 10 volunteers, male volunteers, it specified. And all the participants, actually, all the students were males as well. So this took all 10 males, gave them this vocabulary centered strategy created by the author of the article, and those 10 teachers were to use this with their groups instead of the book, some type of a textbook. I'm guessing it was just like, your traditional old day, textbook. So at the conclusion, these 10 teachers, these 10 males, were interviewed on basically whether or not they liked it. That was actually kind of the wording. It made me laugh. It was the wording of the research question was, and I'm going to read it specifically from the article. What are teachers' opinions concerning the utility of VCS, vocabulary centered strategy? So turns out that I didn't know how they were going to get a lot of information from that question, and unfortunately the interview questions weren't here. All it said was that 2 interviewers were presented to these participants, these 10 volunteers, and one asked them what they did they like the program and why? And the other one said, do you not like the program and why did you not like the program? So 8 out of 10 teachers liked the program. And then the two who didn't, it wasn't they didn't like the whole thing, they just didn't like parts of it. So overall, they liked it, which I kind of felt was, I don't know, it just seemed a little simple to me. So okay, so going back to it, the thing I found interesting that I was always kind of curious about with qualitative studies was, how do you get information from? Do you like this or don't you? So they did the coding. So coding was how the semi-structured interviews were analyzed. So they identified emerging themes. So three categories emerged based upon the patterns and the ideas from the data that the author collected. So those three categories were, and I want to read it just so that I don't mess it up. It was, and I can't find it quickly. It was motivation, memorization, and self-confidence and autonomy. Autonomy. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. I've been here all day. I'm trying to get through this, and I'm not stopping this video now. So you're going to keep watching me fumble. No, but autonomy. So there were positive opinions about every piece. The memorization, 10 out of 10 teachers had positive feedback when it came to memorization, because what this strategy did was used a lot of what's called recycling. So, and the teachers felt like there was frequent enough exposure to the new words that they were able to not only memorize them, but they were able to apply them and use them often, both in school and outside of school. And actually, one of the participants had mentioned that with the use of this program, he was actually able to communicate with his father in English. So, hearing that part of you don't hear that in a quantitative study. So I did really like reading the comments from the participants in this study. So in the end, they basically concluded that using this strategy, which included pronunciation, spelling, and use of new words, they were able to teach these students 500 new words in a 12-week time span, which I thought was pretty incredible for learning a new language. So, the interviews also produced some pretty interesting comments. For one, the teachers didn't only express appreciation for the program, but they also expressed an appreciation for being asked, for somebody wanting to know how they felt about utilizing a specific program. And I think that as teachers, we can relate to that. So often we're given, programs, and we're like, okay, I guess just try it, just do it and see how it goes. And we have these feelings about it, but nobody really asks. At least I know that's how it is where I work. It's, here's what you're doing. This is what I want you to do. And then there's really no opportunity for me to provide feedback on anything. So that was very interesting to me, that was one of the things that the teachers pointed out: appreciation for the program, and the help that it provided their students, because those students did show a lot of growth in their vocabulary acquisition compared to students who did not use the strategy. Some of them, even the teachers, even mentioned they wish they had had this strategy. I think he said like the 10 or 12 years he had been teaching English to these students in Saudi Arabia. So the outcome of this study, not only was it a positive result in helping these students acquire more vocabulary, but also for myself, it really gave me a good look into what qualitative studies are capable of. And I really felt like I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get, because I've never really dove deeply into a qualitative study, but I get it now, and I appreciate it. So this is definitely a good one. The only downside of this was, and I don't know, maybe it's possible, but there was really no research that they suggested. And it's kind of, I don't know, it just seems a little unbelievable to me that you can do all this research and then come up with, oh, nope, and we're good. We're going to stop this here. So whether they didn't mention it in the article, but I did say, I think that an extension of this would be nice to see what these 14 and 15-year-olds felt about the strategies that they were taught. So in their third year of their schooling process. So I thought that would have been a nice extension to go back and see what their perspective was. All right. Have a great week. Can't wait to see your videos. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.